become a major conversation about how politicians are now coalescing and forming some kind of front ahead of 2027. Senator Shehu Sani is our guest tonight. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us.
Thank you for having
me. For a moment.
Yes.
What's your view about what is happening in River State, the state of emergency and all whatnot?
Yes, you have just discussed it now. So what do I say?
What's your view? I mean, you are stood in the vanguard of agitating for democracy in this country, and you hear people speak like this and say, look, I cannot cope in this kind of climate. I mean, generally, do you think the president made the right choice?
Well, the popular opinion in the country is that the state of emergency should not have bring in a military administrator. That is popular. Popular with the political class, popular with young people, and popular with masses as a whole. But when you are presiding over a country as a leader, there are times in which you have to take a decision, and that decision should be in the best interest of preserving the peace, because peace comes after democracy. Now, the action taken by Mr. President, I hope, since it has already happened, what I will hope is that the state of emergency should not be extended beyond 6 months. 6 months is just September. Fubara should come back and take over his seat. But before then, there should be reconciliation moves, and it appears it's not happening, which it needs to happen, because if it doesn't happen, it will be used as an excuse to extend the state of emergency. So to me, since it has already happened, it should not be extended beyond September so that he can return back to his seat.
It's interesting, and there's a lot of meetings are happening now, some in the dead of the night, some outside of the camera. But the one that the cameras are catching and pictures that we're seeing to the effect that people are now planning. By the way, Senator, you see a member of the PDP?
No, I'm not.
Where are you now?
I have rejoined the APC.
Oh, you are now a member of the APC?
Yes, of course.
But it does look like a lot of people don't know.
Well, they may not know, because I was not even a chieftain in the PDP. So we were displaced out of the APC in Kaduna State. In fact, I wasn't alone, but my name was all over. We made a decision when we had a serious and protracted conflict with the former governor of Kaduna State. And then we were forced out of the party. And then when a new governor took over, Sani, he reached out, he consulted with us, and then we decided to return back to APC. I wasn't alone. Senator Hunkwi, yes,
Hunkwi is back in the APC.
And there are some former members of House of Reps. So we went out in group and then returned back in group. So it wasn't about Shehu Sani alone. Yes.
So, I mean, it was because of your very good friend, Nasiru El-Rufai, that you left the APC.
I don't know what you mean by my good friend.
Isn't he a good friend? He was a good friend when you went to the Senate.
I don't think we have ever been good friends since the day we won our elections. And I have never even been to Kaduna State Government House for one day since we won the election.
So you are never cordial?
The battle started a week or two since he took over. And then it went along for the whole 8 years he was in power. So we have to go out of the APC because of the direction it has taken in the state. It was toxic, it was harmful, it was delirious and damaging to our people. And we can't remain in that party. And the result of our exit from that party led to the losses of that party in 2023, which led to the loss of the election by the president in Kaduna. The APC lost all the 3 senatorial seats out of the 14 seat for House of Reps. APC got only 3, and the PDP got 9. So those of us who led to the downfall of the APC in 2023 are now back to it. We are not back to it because of what's happening at the federal level. Politics is what happens in your ward, what happens in local government, and what happens in your community. So we are back because the condition that led to our eviction, our exit, has changed, and then we return as far as Kaduna is concerned.
What is it about Nasiru El-Rufai? Because if Nkui, yourself, and a few others left, I mean, in that kind of frustration, what is it about him?
Well, first of all, when I read online, people making a lot of comments about Kaduna and also about the former governor, I think the best thing is to make a call to at least 10 people in Kaduna to know the horror, the terror, the tragedy we have suffered for 8 years under him. First and foremost, I had an issue with him for my refusal to approve a $350 million loan, which, of course, later he got it, and which now strangulated and asphyxiated the economy of Kaduna State. And you can see the report that came out of the probe by Kaduna Assembly, how the state was pillaged, destroyed, looted, and dehydrated by Nasiru El-Rufai and his gang. We now luckily have a new person at the helm who is doing everything possible to restore the honor, the glory of the state, and most importantly, to unite the predominantly Christian South and the largely Muslim North in the state that have been almost at war for the whole 8 years which Nasiru was the governor of Kaduna.
Was that deliberate?
Well, it was an institutional, because the people of southern Kaduna were almost treated like the blacks in apartheid South Africa under his leadership. And also the people of northern Kaduna suffered a devastating issues as far as his style of governance was concerned. Just like what he did in Abuja, they seized lands and share it to family and friends. They gave out contracts without due process. They strangulated the economy of the state with debt. He has left piles of uncompleted projects dotted all around. Contractors have gone to court and have gotten a garnishing order against the Kaduna State government for now. He has left over a liability of 100 billion, which Kaduna State have to pay contractors. Many of the projects were abandoned, from markets to roads to bridges. This is all what we have.
How would you describe the 8 years of Nasiru El-Rufai in Kaduna?
Well, to us, to people from outside who don't go beyond the Kaduna city, where you see some cosmetics of roads and street lights. We have 20 local governments in the state. You need to go the states and see how he has neglected and how he has exploited, plundered the state, and virtually destroyed our cohabitation, unity, and harmonious existence between us and the people of Southern Kaduna.
Summarily, how would you describe those 8 years?
To us, it was a disaster, and he is now moving about trying to mobilize an alliance against the government, which I believe was simply self-seeking, seeking for attention and simply struggling for his own personal political relevance and a place. But to us, we know that his government was a disaster to our people, and that is why they refused to vote for APC when he served as 8 years. Remind you, when I see them, when I see him and others threatening the president about re-election, I said, but Aswadi lost Kaduna. Atiku won Kaduna. The votes, Atiku had 599,000 votes, and Aswaju has 360,000 votes. And the PDP won all the 3 senatorial seats and also the House of Representatives seats. So the governor also of the state, my friend here, narrowly won as a result of the policies which he has inherited in the state. So you can see this is the score sheet. If you're a politician, I think you should walk by your updated report of what you have been able to do.
How would you say he's moved to the SDP now, and we've seen him gone to visit the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, alongside Atiku Abubakar and a host of others, and that those who say hope is on the horizon about what will become a very strong opposition that could be very vibrant against the Bola Tinubu APC and anybody within that family, that political family ahead of 2027. Do you fear, and then those who say, one say, look, fear a Nasiru El-Rufai as a political force. Are you also of that school of thought who feel either you like him or hate him? He's a political force that you need to be weary of?
Force in what sense? Because his party lost the elections in Kaduna State.
Those who will say, look, he was also one of those responsible for Bola Tinubu getting the ticket. and ensuring that his party elect a southern candidate as a flag bearer?
No, the country, let's go into the basics of politics. First of all, let's talk about the coalition rather than personalize discussions about him. It has been the political dynamics in Africa that for you to evict a ruling party, there's a need to have an alliance or merger or a form of coalition. It happened in Senegal that led to the victory of the current president, and also it happened in, I think, Botswana and also Zambia. So the imperative of political parties coming together, gathering strength, energy, and resources to disestablish or dislodge a government is very important as far as democracy is concerned. But if you are to study what happened in 2013 and 2014, it's a different scenario here. If you are going to have a merger, you need a common resolve, a common enemy, a common commitment, and also a focal point, and also someone you can all rally around him. That was the case in 2013 and 2014. Buhari became a rallying point, while Aswaji provided the energy and support from the south, and then he won. The election was won, and PDP was ejected out of power. But in this case, the major political party, the PDP, has said they are not interested in coalition. The SDP, which the former governor has found himself as a refugee, also said they are not interested as for coalition. The NMPP said it. The main faction in the CPC, this one, they pledge their allegiance to the president as Aswaju. Now, the only person interested in coalition happens to be the former governor, and that is for the simple reason that he couldn't fit in.
And Atiku Abubakar says he's also interested.
Well, Atiku, for me, he is a credible politician, one that has been contesting election for a very long time. And he has the capacity to govern the country. There is nothing wrong with that. But the changing political atmosphere in this country demands him, from my own point of view, and that doesn't mean anything, for him to step backward. And even if there is going to be a coalition, that coalition or the opposition that is going to come against the president should be somebody from southern part of Nigeria. It's only fair and just. Buhari has his 8 years. There was no any major challenge, major opposition, major rejection or resistance from southern part of Nigeria. And he had his 8 years. So if a southerner has 4 years, and for Atiku to contest, it's just very unfair.
But if you have credible and a strong alternative to the status quo, out of 2027, don't Nigerians have the right to decide, other than the issues of ethnicity or region or whatnot?
Well, they can, but you see, they can do it, but there are still credible political forces in southern Nigeria. You have Peter Obi, you have Adebayo, you have Shawore, you have so many of them. Why don't you rally around them for them to complete the 8 years for southern part of Nigeria? I think we should understand, as a developing country, as an African country, we are still a fragile nation. Our democracy is fragile, our unity is fragile. You can see what happened in Sudan and other places. The need to preserve the country, the unity, the integrity, and our peace is very important. And then fairness and equity is necessary. So what Nasiru is doing is simply struggling for political relevance. And he is the major impediment even to the
former two-time governor. What kind of relevance will he be looking for again?
You can be anything, but the point is that what are you at this very period of time? That is it. So if you were, yes, you were. But what are you at this very period of time? And all he has been doing, there is no doubt about it. Nigeria is a democracy, and within the ambit and ambience of democracy, you have the right to oppose, criticize, and even seek for eviction of the government out of power. But when you have a personality that is whipping up sectional sentiment, whipping up ethnic sentiment, whipping up religious sentiment, all for the purpose of achieving a certain goal, because he has been angered, because he has been denied what he wants, I don't think that is an eaten.
What does he want?
He wanted to be part of the government. Everyone knows it. He wanted to be a minister in this government, and then he could not make it. And from that time, the war against this government started. If he was in this government, I know he was one of the most vociferous, destructive, and vocal defender of this government and against anybody in northern Nigeria. He will insult the ACM, he will insult the Northern Elders Forum, he will insult any person who dare say anything against President Aswaju. But for now, he has torn. Every statement of his, every utterances of his, every step of it is how he can whip up sectional sentiment from northern Nigeria,
Could we for a moment,
ethnic sentiment from Nigeria, a religious sentiment from northern Nigeria.
Could you for a moment leave the messenger and focus on the message of Nasiru El-Rufai?
What message does he have?
He's saying that this government is not performing. The party is not focused. There's no purpose or a direction that this party and this government is giving to the nation.
Well, if you are going to talk about this government, I think you ask yourself, where are we coming from? Why was he silent when what was happening under Buhari? If you are talking of killings, which is insecurity, which he has said, we had the highest form of insecurity under Buhari administration. For now, let me be very frank with you. I do not speak for the government. When last did you hear of any school in northern Nigeria has been attacked and students were kidnapped? What do we have in record? Bethel Baptist High School in Kaduna was attacked, students were kidnapped. Greenfield University, Kaduna, it happened. Federal Government Girls College, Yauri. Government Secondary School, Kankara. Government Science College, Kagara. Dapchi, Jengibe. All these profiles of kidnapping, it was almost a kidnapping and attack per month. From Kaduna to Abuja, when last have you heard there was attacks and kidnappings? It doesn't happen. Does not mean that the nation is safe with what is happening in Plateau and Benue. But comparatively, we have moved away from the past. We have not reached where we are. And in economic terms, what happened? What happened under Buhari regime? And he was talking of nepotism. I heard him saying Yoruba-led federal government. The statistics are very clear. The nation has a very suicidally short memory. And then we simply forget what happened last time around. Buhari was in power. What was the profile of nepotism at that very time? About 30 federal appointments were given to people from Katsina State and 50 board members. Who are they? The DG of SSS Laura was from Katsina State. NIA, the DG, Rufai, was from Katsina State. The MPA, my sister Hadiza, she's from Katsina State. Director of Federal Mortgage Bank, Katsina State. Smedan, Katsina State. FRCN, Katsina State. NIMET, Katsina State. NIMASA, Katsina State. Railway Corporation, Katsina State. All those things. You don't talk of Chairman of Federal Civil Service. About 30. We don't have time for that. I can state all of them. All from Katsina State. And when you talk of nepotism at the regional level, what happened? At a certain time in this country, the Controller General of Immigration, which is Babendidi, is from Katsina State, from northern Nigeria. Customs, Hamid Ali, is from northern Nigeria. Civil Defense, Audi, is from northern Nigeria. Chairman of Federal Road Safety Corps is from northern Nigeria. Inspector General of Police, Baba, is from northern Nigeria. The Chief of Naval Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, from that guy from Yahya from Sokoto, they're all from northern Nigeria. We have had all those things here, and you have never had any person from any south or southern part of the country raising issues. But now is the case. But it's a fact that two wrongs do not make a right. But let us know that when nepotism favored a part of the country, you are silent. And now you raise it up because you have an issue with this government.
But does it make it right? I mean, whatever that's criticism against this government about how skewed appointments have been, does it make it right? And the fact that because it's happened under Buhari doesn't mean that people cannot speak against it.
Yeah, but I will appreciate the morality of your position if I can hear your voice when your own man from your tribe, from your ethnic group, and from your own tribal identity were perpetrating those evil and you stood against it. And when you keep quiet when it favored you, and now you speak out when it doesn't favor you, it means you have other alternatives. And that will say that President Aswaju should also be very careful. He shouldn't toe that line because it has been in African political geography that each time a person takes over a position of office, he fills the major position with people from his own ethnic group. And it's happening everywhere. So people who find themselves in power should see it as an opportunity to serve not as warlords who have conquered, and as such they have to place their people everywhere.
And I'd like to ask you, Senator, it's the import of all what is happening right now, and the fact that there are those who are worried in your party to say there is a big dent on the image and the popularity of the APC and on this presidency, which they say in turn might affect the electability of the candidacy of Bola Tinubu or the APC at the poll. Does it worry you that you are now entering into a party that will become an opposition in 2027?
Well, you see, it's been all over history and all over the world. There is no president that will embark on a reform that will change the course of history and change the direction and compass of a state without encountering this kind of issues. And you cannot implement reform and expect people to be clapping at you, to appreciate you, to be smiling, when that reform comes with prices of hardships and sufferings in their lives. But opinions will change if the result of that reform started becoming evident in their lives and things are getting better. But it's like the inconvenience of a construction site where you have to break this, you have to rush this, you have to put this in place. So his popularity is down now because certainly this is coming with pains and hardship.
And it's worse in the northern Nigeria.
It is every part of the country.
The opinions are that things are bad in terms of the image of the president and the APC in northern Nigeria.
Well, what degree are you going? Because if you are going to talk, I'm going to like you to have some statistics. If you have an OB as a president today, the opposition will come from the southwest and the northern part of Nigeria. It has always been that. When Buhari was the president of this country, the north was silent. And that's many in the north were silent. And even at a certain time, when I stood up in the parliament, in the Senate, to raise issues about insecurity and killing some mad people, the first serious resistance and opposition I get is from senators from northern part of Nigeria. Because at that time, you are expected to be quiet, to enable the system, to be silent, to also embrace whatever it is because the president comes from your own part of the country. And that any attempt for you to raise objection to the killings in the north, to the poverty in the north, to the out-of-school children issues in the north when Buhari was there, you'll be reminded that you shouldn't damage the image of the president since you are coming from that part of the country. In fact, this is the only president I've seen. The culture in the southwest is different, that people from the southwest are speaking out. And I think they are setting a standard for people from all parts of the country, that it does not mean when your own is in power, you should not be able to speak the truth. Our refusal to speak the truth to Buhari regime, our refusal to tell him where he is wrong, led to the north to where it is today.
So would you, regard Bola Tinubu as a reformist?
Of course, from what he has embarked upon, he is embarking on a project that he knows very well will cost him his popularity and also. You see, you have two options when you find yourself as a leader. First of all, is to do the transactional leadership, where you appease people to be popular, where you please people, where you do what people want. And the second then is to look at the future of a country and see where are we heading to. Let me lose some popularity, let me lose some support for me to be able to achieve it. If you check the history of great leaders, Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore, and Mahathir Mohamad in Malaysia, and Sukarno in Indonesia, General Park in Pakistan, and the reforms in Brazil, they were all unpopular until the result came out. Tinubu will continue to be unpopular until the result of the reform now started making positive impact.
And those who will say Atiku will take advantage, Atiku is coming.
Well, I do not see anything. When people are talking, you see, between Tinubu and Atiku and Peter Obi, it's not like you have a capitalist, a Marxist, and a socialist. They all have come from the neoliberal economic theory. They believe in World Bank, they believe in IMF, they believe in privatization, they believe in removal of subsidy. All of them, they share the same thing. So it's simply difference in personality.
Senator Shehu, Sani, always a pleasure having a conversation with you. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.